is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Okay, and while that sanding sealer is curing, I'm going to show you guys a little trick. Now, I've already fixed the crack in the back, but as far as the inside, there's still a pretty good gap here, and I didn't really get inside of here to fix that gap. But what we want to do is make sure that this joint never separates, and I'm going to show you guys a trick to this. So get yourself some baking soda, and this is a quick cure, and we're going to put some of this baking soda kind of into that crack, okay? Make sure you get it along, so it's going to run right into the full length of it. Just work it in, so it's kind of falling in there. And I'm going a little farther than I normally would. You can use whatever tool you wish to do it, but just follow your crack. And you don't have to be precise. The only reason I'm doing this will make sure that it never separates. You can use wood glue, but the problem is if you use wood glue on the inside here, it's not a tight bond. It's not wood up against each other. So what we're doing is we need to take up the space. And we could use a wood filler, but wood fillers aren't strong. So although I have filled it with wood filler on the other side and sanded it, I have not done this now. As you can see, I'm working this stuff back and forth in to the crack. And that's why I use more than what's needed, so we can continue to work it back and forth. And once you're confident that the crack is fairly filled all the way through, I'll show you a secret. And sometimes you'll realize that the crack extended farther than you thought it did, which is the case that I'm doing right now. So this crack ran from here to way down here, which is not as far on the other side, and this is why we're doing this, so it never opens up again. So what are you doing with baking soda? I'll show you. So now I'm going to scrape some of this baking soda out of the path here. Okay. Get it out of the way. And I'm going to take my finger and just clean it, kind of press in what was there, and get it out of the path. So I'll show you. Now we have a clear, obvious. It's clear and obvious. Let me get you closer of where the crack was. So let me bring you over to that so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Now you can see the whole length where that crack is. See how that works? Okay, so now what we're going to do, and this really didn't have to be done, but I'm doing it for me because I'm going to shield this in a moment, and I want it done quickly so I can, well, move along to shielding it. So now that I've done that, I need to find out now, I'm sure you guys have glued plastics before with super glue. Well, what happens when you use baking powder and super glue is you get an instantly hard glue that is harder and more of a fibrous type lock. So we're going to take this, and I'm going to start in the middle, and we're going to run that right down on the crack. And then start in the middle again and just push it. That's going to instantly absorb into the baking powder and make a permanent seal and bond. And that is that. And you can see it suck right into the crack, and that's going to be super strong. I will let that sit for a second. And if you need to sand that out later on, you can. If not, we'll suck all this out with a little vacuum or what have you, and then we'll shield the inside of this. But now that crack is the glue is getting drawn right down into it and creating a bond on each side, very strong bond that is gonna last, and that's what we needed. So I hope that little tip helps. Okay, it's been a couple minutes. I just vacuumed it out, and it has cured. And that's what we're left with. And the crack is totally cured and hard and full. And now we can shield it.